if you're enjoying the ride on the highway to hyperinflation, then you are absolutely going to love Joe Biden's new budget plan. The proposal, which included Biden's plan to increase investment in infrastructure, education, healthcare, and beyond, would push federal spending to the highest sustained levels in decades. Instead of realizing the mistakes that he has made and reversing course, Biden has decided that now is the time to push the accelerator to the floor. That means a lot more inflation is on the way. I've been talking about this for months. A lot of people have. What could hyperinflation do to our economy? We are literally in the process of becoming Venezuela. Seriously. And what's even more scary is most Americans have absolutely no idea how horrific that would be. In Venezuela today, almost everyone is a millionaire. But just about everyone is also living in poverty because the money is absolutely worthless. We don't want to end up like that, but this is the road we are on. While he was still in the White House, President Trump proposed a budget for 2021 was roughly about $4.8 trillion. That is an extremely high number, but Biden's new budget for 2021 is actually 25% larger. Let's just say this, the Republicans and Democrats, both parties, spending is out of control. The proposal represents a 25% increase over what former President Donald Trump proposed in his final budget in a year that would be upended by the coronavirus. The spending levels would continue on an upward trajectory, hitting $8.2 trillion at the end of a decade, according to detailed top-line numbers leaked to the New York Times. So I could blabble all day here and still probably not be able to come up with sufficient words to describe how absolutely insanity it would be for the United States government to spend $6 trillion. $6 trillion in a single year. So according to Biden, his new tax increases would offset part of the new spending. But even his own projections show us running trillion-dollar deficits long into the future. The budget would have the nation continuing running deficits of more than $1 trillion, a level it already topped with the onset of the pandemic, with estimated annual deficits of $1.3 trillion amid enacted and proposed federal programs. So, of course, these sorts of projections are usually way too optimistic. From the research of the economists and digging into the weeds and looking at the empirical data, the plan would probably have us facing deficits of at least $2 trillion per year throughout his presidency and beyond. That's astronomical. We cannot keep doing this to our children and our grandchildren. Already borrowing and spending giant mounds of money that we do not have has resulted in the worst stretch of inflation since Jimmy Carter's years of the 1970s. Even Larry Summers, a badass on K Street, was the former director of National Economic Council under Barack Obama. And even he's warning that big-time inflation is coming. He told the CoinDesk conference, we're taking very substantial risk on inflation side. I think policy is rather overdoing it. The sense of serenity and complacency being projected by the economic policymakers that this is all something that can easily be managed is misplaced. He added. So he's worried. When even Larry Summers is sounding the alarm, you know that it must be really late in the ball game. So as I discussed in previous videos, we talk about prices, commodities absolutely exploding, not just in one area, but all over the nation right now. And today we learned that one prominent analyst is claiming that U.S. inflation data surprises are at their highest in 20 years in the series. Positive U.S. data surprises seem to be normalizing, i.e. the Citi U.S. Economic Surprise Index has flattened due to a combination of analysts catching up with their prior stronger pace of growth and also due to some evidence that the rate of change of U.S. growth is peaking out. Now, J.P. Morgan disagrees. However, at DB, Deutsche Bank, big investment bank house, Deutsche Bank equity strategist, Prag Thaddy He's a 12-year veteran of DB. I looked him up on LinkedIn. Points out in his latest positioning place, U.S. inflation data surprises are at their highest in the 20-year history of the series, with the last 10 data points almost off the chart. We should be taking emergency measures to get inflation under control, but instead Joe Biden has decided that this is perfect time for a spending spree. So at this moment, we are witnessing the most severe shortages that the U.S. has experienced in a lifetime, in my lifetime. And I'm not over the hill. As discussed, and Bloomberg is reporting that, the world economy is suddenly low on everything. Even they're reporting when there are way too many dollars chasing way too few goods and services, it is inevitable that shortages will happen. And we are being told to expect some of the shortages will get even worse in the months ahead. Even, in fact, they looked at CNN as telling us to expect very serious gasoline shortages this summer. And that could be the least of our problems for those taking the highways for summer vacation. The gas shortage experienced earlier this month when a key pipeline, remember that, was shut down, could once again be on the horizon, according to the experts. So this time, the squeeze could be triggered by, and I did a video on this, the lack of tank truck drivers to deliver the fuel, and repeat of pandemic buying by travelers. The crazies going to load up on that toilet paper, topping off their tanks. Meanwhile, economic conditions continue to deteriorate for those at the bottom of the food chain. 250 million people in the U.S. are doing good. 130 not so good. Current economic conditions in New York, it's out of control. It's almost like the movie Escape from New York. On Sutton Place, one of the most affluent residential areas in the city, a lone man squats on the sidewalk, reading a paperback novel next to a shopping cart that contains his worldly goods. He begs for cash with a sign saying he has lost everything trying to survive, it adds. It's getting out of control. Joe Biden may think that he is going to bring the U.S. economy back to life with all the borrowing and spending that he is doing, but the truth is it's just going to make our long-term problems even worse. Unfortunately, a lot of our long-term problems are rapidly becoming short-term problems, and that is not good news for any of us in this country. I mean, just to take down, we're talking $6 trillion. Let's look at, what is, how much is that? It's an obscene amount of money, right? So 1 million in $100 bills equals 22,000 pounds. 22,000 pounds, $1 million in $100 bills. $1 billion in $100 bills is 2204,623. I want to say it like that in pounds. 2204,623. And 1,000 billions equals a trillion in $100 bills. What would that be? 220462262185. Let me repeat that. 1,000 billions equals a trillion. In $100 bills, what would that be? 220462262185. I think that's saying the number is more powerful. It's absolutely insane in one time to do a $6 trillion spending bill. We are the world currency right now. And, if the U.S. is going to go away from the world currencies because the U.S. wants to, the U.S. Pulls the strings and throughout the world. I'll do a talk on that. There's a few interesting books I read about that. But the amount of spending we're doing is absolutely insane. It doesn't make sense. But we'll just keep printing, right? I think there's going to be ramifications from this. And I just wanted to share with you, it's an astronomical number to do a $6 trillion bill in 1 year. And when you delve into this bill and where the money's going and all the pork, it's just going to wreak havoc on the world. So take care, be creative.